You know, I don't talk about the 2008 F-150 very much, but this is a 2008 F-150 Lariat edition. It's a four-wheel drive. I've had this truck for 12 years. Again, it's an '08, so I got it from a guy, the original owner. He had it for 2 years, and he was getting ready to trade it in for a brand new, at the time, Mustang GT with the 5.0. And we talked about it, and he said, well, instead of trading it in, what will you give me for it? So I ended up buying this truck from him, and it was like brand new. It had very low miles. If I remember right, it only had like 20 or 30,000 miles on it when I got it. And today it has like 97,000 miles on it, but it's in really good shape. I mean, this thing is like brand new, you know, sunroof, sliding rear window. I've tinted it. I've raised it up a little bit, like 1 inch more in the back and 2 inches in the front. It's got the 22-inch Harley Davidson F-150 wheels on it. It's got a 305, 45, 22 tires. These are the new Nitto Recon Grappler tires, as you can see. Just put those on. I've done the Harley Davidson F-150 front lower valence there, which gets rid of the tow hooks and everything. And I've got the the Saleen grill in here, which gets rid of the chrome one. I've updated the headlights. These are the Harley style with the blackout in the surround and the clear corners. This one actually has moisture in it. I just got through washing it yesterday, so it's got moisture in it. These aftermarkets are notorious for leaking. This is a little over a year old. You can see it's starting to get a little bit of yellow tint to it. They just don't make these lenses like they used to. But anyway, I think I paid 80 bucks for these on Amazon, 40 for the pair, 40 each, so 80 for the pair. So I can just buy another set of those, be good to go. These are Saleen fake side vents, but I thought they look cool. They go with the grill, kind of tie it all in. So it's a little bit of Saleen, a little bit of Harley, and just kind of changes up a little bit. And other than that, I was doing an oil change on this thing yesterday, and I found the valve cover gaskets are leaking, and also found the hood shocks. Even though right now they're holding it up, they are a little weak. See there? So today I went out and I bought some valve cover gaskets. This is the part number. It's a Felpro VS50687R, and this fits the 5.4 and 4.6 models. And then I got a pair of hood shocks. This is the part number 95310. So I went ahead and bought both, so I can change both hood shocks out. And then it's the driver's side valve cover that's actually leaking. And it's leaking enough to get on the manifold, and just in general, just cause a mess. You know, it leaks down the side of the engine, causes a mess, but you can smell a little bit of oil burning because it gets on the exhaust manifold. So I'm gonna change that out today. Just a little routine maintenance. I mean, it's older. And what happens is the gasket just kind of hardens up, dries out, and it causes it to leak. Luckily, only one side's leaking, so I'm just going to change the driver's side. As you can tell, it's a little easier to get to this side compared to the passenger side. So, I'm going to get in here now and do it. These motors are the ones that's notorious for the two-piece spark plugs where they break off in the head. I've changed the spark plugs on this 3 times now. And the first set I had done at a shop, and they broke 7 out of 8. I think the tech who was doing it was just an idiot, or he wanted to do it on purpose so they could charge me the labor. But ever since then, I decided to do it myself, and I've yet to break any. So I've changed them twice since then, and I've never broken any. There's a procedure to do it. You get the motor hot and use an impact, and you can wing them out. I actually use a little bit of extra stuff in there. I go in with a wrench, a socket, and I get them broke loose just a hair, you know, just so the threads are exposed a little bit. I put a little bit of transmission fluid down in there, and spray a little bit of carburetor cleaner or brake cleaner down in there, and cause like chemical reaction, and that breaks it up a little bit. And then go ahead and take the impact and pop them out. I've not broken one. I've done it twice now. And I just do it, you know, probably every little over 25,000 miles, I guess. And just to make sure I don't have any break off in the head, because that was a pretty expensive venture when the first 7 broke off. Other than that, I've done normal suspension stuff, upper control arms, in or out of tie rods, the normal wear and tear stuff that you do on these things when you have oversized wheels and tires. but it's a 543 valve. It's got a standard tune in it. It is flex fuel, so you can run the 93 tune, or you can put E85 in it, which is what I've been running. And other than that, it's just a great truck. These are really good trucks. I like these trucks. Never really had any issue whatsoever. Did have a transmission problem with it a few years back, and it was just a fluke. It just had an internal problem. It wouldn't go in any gear. It just shut down and wouldn't go at all. And put a Ford reman in it. It's been doing fine ever since. So just one of those things that happens. Other than that, the motor's been rock solid. I did put new timing components on it a couple years ago, just because at like 75,000, I just felt like it was time to do it before I started having trouble. So I put all new timing chains, oil pump, and all that in it, just for peace of mind, just because I'd rather have it maintenance too much than not enough. So because this is a truck that we would drive all the time, and I use it to tow my car to the track or pick up project cars I'm doing, I just need this thing to last a long time. So here we are. This truck is 14 going on 15 years old, and just needs the normal wear and tear stuff. So I'll take a little valve cover leak over major damage anytime, any day of the week. So here we go. Nice, pretty easy. Just kind of pull up on this, and then you can pop that off. And then same thing, you come over here, you pull up on this, pop that off. So just a little flat blade screwdriver, pop these off. These are the old ones. You take your new one, and I always like to start with the bottom one. Pop that on, and then we'll turn this around. And that's all it is to it. We have them in, so pretty simple. Just make sure they go. I like to exercise it a few times because they were new in the pack. They haven't been compressed in a while. So it is about 4 or 5 times. There we go. And just to make sure, shut, ready to go. So now we'll go back in here and open it back up. And then I'll go on and do the valve cover part of it. Much better. Throws the hood up in there like it should. So that's how to change the hood struts. Rust on it. What I'm doing is I'm making room so we get here to the valve cover. So I got a lot of stuff to move out of the way. Alright, to get to this point, basically you need to unplug all the wire and harness. And it's easier said than done. Most of the connections you can get to, like the coils and the fuel injectors here. There's some connectors here and here, cam sensor and all that goes around. But then one drops down here behind the power steering pump and goes all the way down where the oil filter is, and then around to the air conditioning. So you need to unhook those, pull the harness up and out behind the power steering. Then there's this stupid bracket that's in the way here. And there's one big bolt, and it looks like this, and it holds the bottom of that bracket on. And once you get that off, you can loosen it up here and pull the whole bracket out of the way. You're gonna need to get that out of the way to get this valve cover out. And then the rest of this up here is vacuum. And so this tube goes around the back of the head. You can't really see it back there. It's gonna be kind of a pain to get to. So what I'm gonna do is just kind of unhook it from here at the master cylinder, like that. I'm just gonna get some zip ties and just tie it up here out of the way like that. And now I've blown all the debris out of the way because I don't want to drop anything in the motor. Once I get this out of the way, now I can break all the bolts loose, and they're captive fasteners. So once you get them loose, they're not gonna just fall out. So I'll get all these loose, I'll pop the valve cover off, and then I can go ahead and clean it up, pull the old gasket out, put the new gasket in, and just clean the head surface real good, then pop the valve cover back into place. While I got it off, I'll go ahead and spray it real good to get all this residual dirt and residue off of it, and then it'll be good to go. All right, what I want you to see is the gasket actually didn't stay in the valve cover like they're supposed to. It actually stuck to the head. And by looking at the bolt here in the back of the valve cover, you can see where it was leaking. This back bolt is all greasy and nasty. So we're gonna clean this valve cover up really good, inside and out, and then put it back together. Right where the front cover goes to the block, you gotta put a little dab of silicone right here and right down here. So I put that on, let it tack up a little bit before you put your valve cover on, and then we'll pop the valve cover back on here. I wiped it off a couple times just to make sure we're good to go, no debris down in there. Now I'll tighten all these valve cover bolts down, basically torque them down in sequence, and once they're tight I'll put the coils back in, and then I'll run the harness back down, put the power steering reservoir and all back together, and just simple as putting it all back together now in reverse order. We should be good to go. So this is everything hooked up, wiring harness, all the vacuum lines, but now I have to hook up this power steering reservoir bracket and then the air box. All right, if we did everything right, should crank right up. Now I gotta let it warm up and burn the residual oil off everything so you don't smell the oil burning, because no matter how clean you try to make it, you'll get a little bit of oil on the exhaust manifold. So we gotta burn that off so it doesn't smell like oil. But everything else looks good. No check engine lights or anything like that. No fault codes or anything. Next on the list to fix is the passenger side manifold. There's a broken stud. So that's a task for another day.